Info Plus for genuine information.
Namaste and welcome to Info Plus. Today we are joined by one of Nepal's respected political scientists, Dr. Chandra Bnattta. In this conversation, we'll explore Nepal's current political landscape, the rise of the JNG protest, and what these moments mean for our country's future.
Info Plus for genuine information.
Namaste. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much for having me on your popular show, ma'am.
Mr. Bnattta, let's begin with the youth movement that's gaining momentum at present, the JNG protest. Do you see this as a moment of frustration or a new beginning of a politic awakening in Nepal?
Thank you very much for the question. It's a very interesting question in a sense that the way youth movement took place in Nepal is something which has never happened in the history of Nepal. Of course, we have seen a lot of movement during the last 70 plus years of the Nepal's political history, but this one is very special. I said it's special primarily because there are certain fundamental characteristics with this movement. First, the movement is leaderless. The second one is, in the beginning, they had some defined agendas, which in fact were quite important for Nepal state. As the movement moved ahead, then somehow the movement itself derailed. But this was an indication of the fact that Nepal's politics is not really moving into the right directions. Mm-hmm. So you said it's frustration. Of course, it's accumulation of different types of frustrations in the country. For the last many years, Nepali politics or Nepali democracy, for that matter, has not really been able to deliver as per the people's expectations. And these repeatedly there has been a frequent changes of government, but government at the helm of power is not really interested to look into the issues, let alone the youth, but for others as well. So these all factors led to this protest, which ultimately turned into very chaotic, and this created a lot of damage in the capital city and outside of capital city as well. It's a frustration. On top of that, also the youth wanted to have some sort of change in the Nepali politics as well. Politics itself has not really been changing. If you look at during the last couple of years, many things have changed in the country, but we don't really see the politics changing. It's somehow stuck. Society is moving ahead. The technology has brought new momentum in not only in economy but also in the social interactions as well. But politics, we're still been exercising the very the old type of politics, and which has not really been helpful for the country's youth. So they in fact were looking for some sort of solution to the current political problems as well. On top of that, the issue of governance has become problematic for all of us, and the corruption has been skyrocketing day by day. So initially they wanted to look into these issues, have a good governance in the country, the cut down on the scale of corruptions, and also the lift ban on the social media. That was their initial demand. But somehow, in the beginning of 8th of September, if you look at from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock, these youths, those largely who came from the colleges, that's their demand. But afterwards, this movement itself was hijacked. That's what most of the people say, by other actors as well. There were people from political party, there were different types of interest groups might have hijacked this movement. But by and large, the very objective of this movement, youth protest, was to change the politics, the fundamentals of the politics in Nepal, because we have a democracy. we basically the electoral democracy, but that electoral democracy has not really been translated into the substantial democracy. Democracy is not only about electing the people; it's all about taking care of the people as well. That's very objective of the state. It has to protect to those who cannot protect themselves. So there were multiple actors. There were political issues, there were social issues, there were economic issues, and all these contributed to this conflict, to this moment.
As you mentioned that the JNG moment was being hijacked all of a sudden. So what do you think, who were involved in that moment to hijack?
I think there are a lot of political actors who are not happy with the then government, I would say, and who were basically looking for their own opportunity in the politics as well. So they also have their interests. There are some other non-state actors who wanted to get rid of that situation, who wanted to take advantage of that situation for their own benefit, and so there are people from, there might be people from other political parties as well. Those are not happy within their own political parties. So there are in the case of Nepal, we have different types of dissident groups, not within the political parties and outside of the political parties. There are actors like, there are people who wanted to have, were not happy with the current political system, dispensation as well. It's like, different types of unhappiness is there. Like some people wanted to have there are people who wanted to have the different types of political setup as well. Like, we've seen this, we've seen a similar movement sometime in April this year, who were looking for a restoration of the monarchy, right? So they might also have joined the protest. So the unhappiness with the current government, with the then government, was so huge that that it has a potential to invite different types of actors for the protest. So we can see multiple actors from politics, outside of politics, also the non-state actors, also the actors who just wanted to create a havoc in the country as well. So there are, of course, a lot of people see the role of the international actors as well, but I don't really buy that argument primarily because the internal situation was it was more than sufficient to collect people in the street and go against the state.
So why do you think, as you are a political scientist, why do you think the international actors, as you mentioned, were involved in this protest? What was the intention or interest on this?
I said it. There might be. I did not say that international actors might have a direct role in the protest. I said, in the beginning it was a homegrown protest. Like, the students, youths, and even people at large were not happy with the politics. Right, for different reasons, like, so as the protest grew, as the protest moved ahead, so that might have been hijacked by the other actors within the state and outside of the state as well. But that being said, we really don't have a solid evidence that the movement itself was fueled by the international actors as well. But again, given the high geopolitical tension in the region, we cannot deny the fact that there might be some role from the outside as well. But as of now, neither the government of Nepal nor other agencies have been able to identify who the international actors are. But then, as I said earlier, given the type of the geopolitics that is being played out in the region between and among different types of powers, and countries like Nepal, which has been considered as geopolitically important, any political disruption internally can easily be taken, can easily be taken advantage by the other actors as well.
What does the Gen Z movement truly represent for Nepal's future?
Okay, Gen Z somehow, let's try to understand what the Gen Z movement is all about. Gen Z movement basically is not happy with the politics, as we discussed earlier, and also the political parties and their leaders who have been there in the politics for many years. Like, they were not really willing to vacate the space for others. Like, they have blocked the change as well, and there was a need of some sort of change in politics itself, right, which was not really happening internally. It should have happened from the political parties itself or through the elections. But successive elections in the country were not really being able to bring about the change, the generational change as well within the political parties itself. So the people from the political parties at some point of time were also looking for a change, but that was not happening from their side. So because the politics itself and political parties were not willing to change themselves, then these youngsters somehow has decided to come out in the street, and they wanted to go for a change. Now basically their politics is, they're basically demanding for a change, or some sort of new life in the politics itself. It has been stuck there for a long period of time. So they want not only the new faces in the politics, they also want politics of fairness, which has not really been happening. They also want politics with some sort of objectives, and they also want politics that really can serve the interest of society at large. They also want politics where all societal groups are represented equally. If we look at our political parties, has been largely populated by the people of older class. Of course, it should not be a problem, because age should not be considered, should not have become that problematic. If you look at in other countries, there are people in 80s who are ruling the country. Donald Trump himself is 75 plus years. So if you look at other countries in Europe, there are older people in politics. But if politics does not serve it's very objective, then people somehow get disappointed. So that's basically the youth Gen Z movement for now has opened the new avenues for Nepal's political future, which should not be practiced in a way that has been happening in the past. So some sort of, I think it's a new departure should be there. And there should be new actors, there should be new issues and new agendas. I just wanted to point out one important factor here. You see, somebody said he commented on Nepal's politics. So he was a former president of Afghanistan, name is Ashraf Ghani. In fact, his country is also in mess, but when he was writing a book on Nepal, back in 2007-8, he said, he describes Nepali politics in a very interesting way. He said it's all about recycling of people and recycling of policies. The political change is happening. The politics is changing. You see, we have different types of we experience different types of political system, but it's very nuances. The very nuances of the politics are not changing. Then that's the reason why he said why it's not changing is the same type of people and same type of policies. It doesn't really bring about any changes. So there has to be some sort of new life to the politics itself and new approach, because this is needed primarily because world itself has changed in more than one way. It's the technology has changed the social interaction as well. You see, we don't exactly interact in the same way as you used 20 years ago, right? We don't, the capital formation process also has changed. If you look at the new age of new types of economy is coming up, even the politics is changing in other parts of the world as well. If everything is changing, and then why should politics remain static? It should also change. But our political leaders and political parties were not really willing to change. And for them, as long as they are in the politics, as long as they are in the power, and they equated that situation with democracy, which is fundamentally wrong.
What do you think? Is Genji is the beginning of the new political awakening in Nepal?
Genji is trying to do that. It's some sort of, you can say, as you said, awakening. It's a renaissance in Nepali politics as well. But it's again, the movement itself is fizzled out. The people are divided along different groups. They themselves have their, they don't have a coordinated voice, I would say now. They had in the beginning, of course, they had some solid agenda, like they were there for corruption. They did not want to have that to happen. They wanted to have a good governance and other issues. Like as of now, if you look at 1 month down the line, they are divided. They exactly don't know what they wanted, what they are up to. Some say they wanted to have a directly elected executive. Some wanted to have an amendment in the constitutions, while others wanted to have, there are, within the group, there's a group within the Genjis who also wanted to have old politics back. Right, so they don't have a coordinated and cohesive voice, I would say. So that is creating a problem. The second one is in the name of Genji, a lot of bad things are also happening. If these days, the people are they are going from one office to another office and claiming themselves as representative of Genji, and creating different types of problem. It's something, I would say the country is in chaos. So Genji, if they really wanted to move the politics ahead towards the positive direction, I think they need to come together. They need to have a common voice, and they also need to have somebody who can really guide them.
How do you describe the current political environment of Nepal, and what kind of phase is the country Nepal going on right now?
The current political situation in Nepal is not that good, I would say. The movement, the protest that Nepal witnessed was something which should not have happened. This has basically hit very hard on the very conscience of Nepali state, and of course we have a government, we have a bureaucracy is there, the state institutions are there, but people at large somehow has lost hope. There is no hope, there is no hope in politics, there is no hope in society, and there is no hope in economics. I think we are passing through very difficult time frame. So if we really wanted to bring this politics back on the track, we need someone who can really generate hope, and that hope basically comes from the leaders. Leadership is all about not only ruling the others, ruling over the others, it's also about creating a hope for the life. And we don't have that type of leadership at the moment. Of course, the government has declared, decided to hold elections in March. But again, if you look at the situation internally, I don't think we are really prepared for that. The security situation is so fragile. The police, the one institutions which has badly been damaged is Nepal police. And then if we don't have a security, I don't think we will be able to hold elections in time as well. Also the economy, if you look at, maybe if you wanted to come, we want to talk about this one, we can do it later, but I can tell you this, neither there is a political security, nor there is a security in a real sense of the term. We have a day-to-day, we have a government which has been taking care of day-to-day activities of the state, and it does not have a very big mandate as well. Its mandate is limited to conduct the elections, but its objective that can only happen when the current government or the Prime Minister herself can bring all the stakeholders together. If they are not, if they don't come together, political forces, I think that will also create a problem. That will create a legitimacy problem. Election is not just about holding the election. It also needs to have legitimacy, and which comes from which has its two parts. One internal legitimacy, and the other one is the external legitimacy. Internal legitimacy is when it has been when all the actors, when the people at large participate in the process peacefully. That's the internal legitimacy, right? External, then the election has to be legitimized by the external actors. That's how the modern democracy works. That part is there. Then if you look at it's been a month now, and we really don't have a full-fledged government yet. There are portfolios, ministers' portfolios yet to be fulfilled. We don't have a foreign minister, we don't have a defense minister, and there are other ministries which are still vacant. So I think the government also need to take a full shape at some point of time. On top of that, I think the biggest problem is the providing some sort of hope to the people. Of course, we don't see much of a problem in the street. People can walk very freely, and we don't feel that there was a movement, there was a protest that destroyed Nepal. But it's very normal, and the process, it has become so normal so quickly. That doesn't mean that the situation has really become normal, because there are issues hidden under beneath the issues. So these issues need to be looked into very carefully by the current government.
Nepal has also experienced several political transactions over the past decades. What do you see as major achievements and persistence challenges of the journey?
This is very interesting questions. If we look at during the last 75 years of Nepal's modern political history, right from the 1950 onwards, we have seen different types of changes. We've seen the regime change, because Ranas were replaced by the democracy for the first time in 1950-51. Then this system was again came to an end, and Panchayat was there. Different types of regimes came over the period of time. So it's not only the regime changes over the period of time, but Nepal also witnessed other instabilities. You see that there was an executive instability. None of the prime ministers, elected prime ministers during the last 70 years, if I'm not mistaken, have completed their full time in the office. There was a legislative instability. None of the parliament or today parliament, in the past there was a different panchayat parliament. None of those parliament were able to fulfill their tenure, right? We also have a constitutional assembly. Like every 10 years we have seen the changes in the constitution as well. So 4 different types of regime instability, executive instability, political, then the constitutional instability, and legislative instability. So we have seen 4 different types of instabilities over the period of time. But despite all these instabilities, Nepali state has thrived. The frequent changes, ups and downs. There was a 10 years of Maoist insurgency as well. Despite all these factors, we've been able to come to this stage, and if you compare Nepali democracy with other democracies in the region, I think it was fairly better in terms of representation, in terms of its the inclusiveness, and there were many positive aspects as well. But again, if you look at the nitty-gritty of the democracy, I think democracy is all about providing services to the people, as I said earlier, and somehow from that perspective, our democracy has not really been able to fulfill that role. Perhaps that could be the reason why we have been seeing these types of changes. If you look at every 10 years, we've been noticing the change. Right from the Bikram Sambat 2007 in Nepali, right? But we've not really been asked a question. Those policymakers or those who are into politics, why these changes are happening in every 10 years of interval? This is the most important question. Even today we are not asking that question. Perhaps that's the most important question, primarily because because this is contributing towards instability. Perhaps, but this is important. Every 10 years we have a new generations coming up. Like, one generation is normally 10 to 15 years. But our politics does not really take into consideration of the issues of that new generation. So somehow we've not really been able to strike a right balance there.
Why do you think political instability and public distrust in leadership continue to grow despite years of democratic practice?
Political instability, the frequent political instability that has been happening in the country has got, there are certain internal issues. These issues are linked with our political culture as well. We have a democracy, but we don't have a equivalent democratic political culture, right? That's most democracy alone is not really going to fulfill its objectives if we don't have a democratic political culture, and that culture has to be inculcated across the political parties, across the spectrum of political leaders, and in society at large as well. Somehow we've not really been able to develop that culture over the period of time. The second point is, as you said, the democracy, we've only practiced political democracy over the period of time, right? And we've not really tried to look into the other aspects of democracy, because if democracy is all about freedom and equality, and freedom and equality can only be achieved through economic development as well, right? That part we've lacked in that part. The second one is, you said, the public distrust. Why there has been a public distrust? This public distrust has been building up for a long period of time, because the political leaders have failed to do their duties, or the political actors in this country were not really working as per their promises. Politics makes a lot of promises, very big promises, but it does not. If the promises are not being fulfilled, then you lose the trust. Today, if you look at there's very straightforward answer to the questions. Right? Every day, almost 2,500 plus. They are not only leaving the country. I would say, I would use the word, they are resigning from the state and society itself, because they don't want to stay in this country, because the country itself has not done anything for them. That's the general perception, not only with the youngsters, but with people from other age groups as well. So why has that happened? We've never tried to answer that question. We've never tried to look into the factors that led to these situations. Rather than creating internal jobs within the country, Nepali state engaged itself in sending people outside of the country, which then certainly people will not like it. Why would they trust? Then those who are in politics, if you look at, they have everything to their disposal. They can enjoy each and everything. Everything that are being consumed by the people of the developed countries as well. So there is a huge gap between the promises and delivery, I would say.
Many feels that Nepal's democracy still lacks maturity. What do you think? What kind of reforms or leadership qualities are needed to make it stronger and more accountable in future?
A lot of people talk about Nepali, as you said, Nepali democracy lacks maturity. Or the current political system is not working. I don't really buy these arguments, primarily because I don't see problem with the democracy or the political system per se. Problem lies with our own political culture, because we want others to be, this is a very, people will not like it, particularly the political leaders. They want to change everything. Right? They want to change constitution if that doesn't work for their interest. They want to change the law if the laws are not really working for their benefit, like it's not real. Then, but they don't want to change themselves. Right? That's the biggest problem. Right? Then it's not about this system or that system. This Gen Z group, they have also come up with the idea of having a new political, system, directly elected prime minister or president. Largely, they are talking about the prime minister. It has, I think, the political stability has nothing to do with the system. This is somehow related with the political culture of the day. And if we don't improve that political culture, whichever system, how many times we practice, it's not really going to work for us. So the first and foremost thing to have a political stability is to have a democratic political culture in the country. That is needed not at the people's level. I think people at large are democratic in this country. Whenever there is a call for democratic movement from the part of a political leaders, they voluntarily come out in the streets. So that is needed at the political leadership level. Those who talk, who said, who worked for a democracy. So at that level, we need to bring about certain changes. Otherwise, I don't think we will really, we will be just moving around here and there. We will again come in the square one. And that's the biggest problem. The second problem is democracy or politics is not only about the ruling itself. It's not only politics has its own purpose. Like it has to fulfill the basic needs of the people. Like I think a lot of things have happened during the last couple of years in the country because you and I are using the very sophisticated telephone setup, which was not expected some 20 years ago. Today, people from Jumla to Janakpur have access to these types of amenities as well. But that does not really, again, make democracy strong, primarily because these things have happened because the globally, this is somehow the trickle down effect of the change that has taken place at the global level, right? We're part of that trickle down effect. Now, what have we been able to do internally, in terms of economy, in terms of creating the job? I think we lack a lot of in many ways there, right? So if we don't change that part, then again people will not only they will not be happy about the political democracy as well, because democracy is it has also to do with other things.
As we all know that Nepal's economy is facing a tough time at the moment. What do you think are the underlying reasons, and how do you think we can overcome with those?
Nepal's economy has been facing problems for a long period of time. If you look at we had an earthquake 2015, then there was a COVID, then there was again earthquake.
We have raised back many back.
Yes, many. There were many ups and downs during the last couple of years, and there were wars at the global level. If you look at Russia-Ukraine war, there were wars in the West Asian countries, and these all internal factors and external factors have contributed a lot towards the economy as well. But very recently, if you look at with this Gen Z protest, the economy is badly hit, I would say. We've lost lives, a lot of people have been injured, we've lost public and private properties as well, and more importantly, we've lost hope. Confidence. The investors, I don't know whether the investors will come under this situation or not. A lot of people, we're basically relying on the remittances. There are countries who do not want to give visa to Nepali youngsters, youths as well, those who wanted to go to the Gulf countries for the employment. So there are issues.
Finally, how do you see Nepal's political future, and are we moving towards stability and reforms?
We should be optimistic because pessimism will not bring any fruit or neither fruit to the table. I think, of course, if there is a will, if the political parties come together, this can bring a lot of good changes in the future. Of course, now the Gen Z with the Gen Z movement, there is some sort of hope. because the leadership is going to change. Because it has also learned, it has also taught some lesson to our political leaders. I hope they will not commit the same mistake in the future, and in the future also people who come into the politics will learn from this incident.
Are we still caught in a cycle of uncertainty? What do you think?
There will be uncertainty of different sort. Political uncertainty, of course, it's going to be there in the days to come as well, given the current situations in the country, because the political spectrum is divided vertically, both ideologically as well as on the issues of governance as well. So if the political parties don't come together, I think we're likely to have more instabilities in the days to come. On top of that, because we've not really been able to settle the politics. Management of politics is the most important part, which we have not really been able to do so far.
And finally, what message would you like to give to our viewers, especially to the youths who are watching you right now?
I think the issues they have raised, particularly the governance and the corruption, is quite important for this country, and that will bring about some sort of positive change, not only in politics but also in polity. But Gen Zs also have to realize the fact that the country they also have to, they should not be sectoral, I would say. They should try to look into the politics from a broader perspectives as well. And I think they have to, the current, the machineries that we have got for the politics or the governance for that matter, is if we could just purify them, that has a huge potential to resolve Nepal's political problems as well.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Namaste.
ma'am.
Info Plus for genuine information.
Thank you, Dr. Bnattta, for sharing your insights and perspectives on Nepal's evolving political scenario. And thank you to our viewers for joining us on Info Plus. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you again next time with another insightful conversation. Namaste.
Info Plus for genuine information.